A lot has happened this week. Robot had his head cut off and still won the fight. Hyundai completed the acquisition of Boston Dynamics and the robot Atlas, and their workers already starting to protest. A robot folded clothes 800 times with just 7 failures. We can now control robots just by our brain and with no chips or implants. And finally, there is robot clothes that dresses you up in seconds. Welcome to RoboNews. My name is Tony. Grab some tea, some cookies. Let's begin. We start in a fighting cage. This humanoid robot had his head cut off and still won the fight. This is not CGI. Let's see what happened. This happened during the opening fight of Engine AI's new URKL Humanoid Combat League in Shenzhen, China. Two full-size T-800 robots, White Eagle and Matador, fought through five 5-minute rounds. Each robot stands at 1.7 meters and has 29 degrees of freedom, excluding his hands. They threw punches, spinning kicks, and flying attacks and could recover after being knocked down. But during the final round, White Eagle kicked Matador's head completely off. Because Matador's main control systems were inside his torso, it continued fighting and won the overall match 3 rounds to 2. 32 teams were selected from more than 60 applicants to compete using the same T-800 platform. But these robots were not necessarily fighting autonomously. Teams were allowed to use different control systems, including human control. Well, we got Robot UFC before GTA 6. It is entertaining, but also it tests how robots perform under extreme conditions, which is quite important for future. While robots fighting inside the cage, Hyundai workers, real human beings, are fighting a battle against Atlas and Boston Dynamics, overtaking their jobs. Hyundai Motor Group has announced that it will acquire SoftBank's remaining stake of approximately 10% in Boston Dynamics. That would make Boston Dynamics a completely Hyundai-owned company. The final price has not been disclosed. Hyundai plans to introduce Atlas at its factory in Georgia beginning in 2028. Its first job will be sequencing parts before expanding into component assembly by 2030. But Hyundai South Korea workers are already demanding protection. The union has held partial strikes during a wider dispute involving wages, bonuses, and job security. It wants Hyundai to reserve 30% of its net income for bonuses and guarantee employment as robots and AI enter production lines. The union says approximately 2,000 of Hyundai's almost 25,000 unionized employees could retire every year through 2032. Without new hiring, the workforce could shrink by almost 40%. I think robots should replace dangerous and exhausting jobs first of all, but we all know it's all about the money. So sooner or later, 80% of people working in the factory will be replaced by robots. Next robot folded 778 pieces of clothes it has never seen in the houses it has never been to. And it only made 7 mistakes. Hyundai Robotics says its Memo home robot achieved a 99.1 success rate across 785 autonomous folding attempts. The test includes 9 categories of clothing, ranging from extra small garments to 8XL shirts. The clothes began naturally cramped inside baskets, piled on bed, and even lying on the floor. Memo has also worked in unfamiliar rooms with different lighting and folding surfaces. Most importantly, Hyundai says it's used the same Act 2 model throughout the entire evaluation, with no additional training for each home or garment. But there are limitations. Hyundai performed and graded its own evaluation. Socks, underwear, bras, and accessories were excluded. Memo is also slow. Each successful fold took a median time of 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And the robot is not available to purchase just yet. I think the breakthrough is not that the robot can fold clothes, it's that Hyundai, props to them, showed all the attempts and the failures also. And the robot now can adapt by itself to new environments. Pretty cool. A human picked up an apple with a robot hand directly with his brain commands. No speaking, no moving, just thoughts. BrainCo demonstrated its new brain-controlled robot platform at WAIC 2026 in Shanghai. First, an EEG set detects electrical activity from the user's brain. BrainCo software then identifies a limited motor or control intention. An AI system converts that intention into instructions, and the robot performs the physical movement. BrainCo says the entire process takes less than 200 milliseconds. During the demonstration, a robotic arm picked up objects including cat and an apple. The company says its platform can also connect with humanoids, robot arms, and robot dogs, and that the researchers can configure the system in approximately 10 minutes. But this is not an unrestricted mind reading. BrainCo has published a detailed accuracy, calibration, or reliability results. The users communicates a limited intention, while the AI and the robot handles most of the complicated movement. Well, my opinion, this is huge because controlling robots with just your brain, this is exactly what we need. No chips, no implants, plus think about people controlling them thousands of miles away by just thinking. This is huge. There's a lot that can happen with that. Finally, you don't need to dress up yourself. You can just use robot clothes that will do it automatically in 10 seconds. Researchers from KAIST in South Korea and Stanford University deployed clothing embedded with soft, flexible robots inspired by climbing vines. The system uses air pressure to inflate tubes inside the clothing, but instead of dragging the entire tube forward, the robot grows from its tip, similar to ivy climbing around an object. As it grows, it stays close to weather's body and turns into the clothing inside out, gradually pulling the entire outfit into place. The researchers say it can dress someone in complete suit in approximately 10 seconds. The person also doesn't need to remain perfectly still, and the system works without a complicated control algorithm. Potential uses include helping elderly people and people with disabilities, dressing emergency workers in protective equipment, and quickly putting on contamination suits inside the semiconductor clean rooms. But this is an early prototype powered by pressured air, not clothing you can purchase today. I love robotic things that you can use and benefit from them in the real world. And from these clothes, you can. Plus, it says that you don't really need to build a full humanoid robot. You can just build a robotic things around us, which is cool. Well, as per usual, the future is moving fast, and each week we get some cool news and some important news about robotics. Subscribe for Robot News with Robo Daddies. Tony offline.